Hey guys, so this is kind of an impromptu video. I'm wanting to this is something I've wanted to talk about for a little while. Um, Let me try to, sorry, trying to make sure that the volume's off on this video. Okay, so I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with this concept of being a tourist in someone's life. So what I mean by tourist is, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the saying, people are in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Now, in everybody's case, well, I can't speak for everyone, but for most people's cases, they have relationships that are tourists. I mean, well, people have tourist relationships, but people do have situations where people are in their life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. For me, I do feel like I have lifetime friends or lifetime whatever. But when it comes to a tourist, it's typically a reason or a season. And I think, I don't know about you guys, but I do not, and I think most INFJs and most different personalities don't prefer people to be in their life just for a short period of time. I don't know if you guys have ever watched Parks and Recreation. If you haven't, it's a really good show. I actually didn't start watching it until like 2017. I've watched it, I think this is like my third time watching that show. I just really enjoy it. I believe there's an episode where Leslie is dating this lawyer. I believe he was a lawyer, and I think his name was Justin, if I remember correctly. And I think it was Ron Swanson. I'm sorry if you guys don't know the show, but basically Leslie's like the main character. That's who Amy Poehler is, and she's just this very driven, political-minded woman. But anyways, she was dating this guy named Justin, and he was very interesting, very intelligent, all of those things, but they never got super close. And Ron Swanson was like, Leslie, this person is in your life. He's a tourist. He goes through people's lives trying to pick up stories and experiences so he's able to like seem more interesting and, I mean, tell those stories to other people, but he's not ever permanently in someone's life. He's jumping around to different opportunities, the next big thing. And I've definitely been a tourist in people's lives. I think almost everybody has been a tourist. Actually, guys, I feel like first of all, the lighting is worse than it usually is. So I'm gonna walk upstairs. You guys are probably gonna get a beautiful, creepy image of me because I'm so pale in this darkness. But yeah. So I was actually talking, whoa, it's all dark right now. I apologize for people that are not watching this live. Anyways, so I was actually talking to someone today about dating and different things like that. So this kind of inspired this talk, but also I've been thinking about this for a while. And he was asking me kind of what I was looking for and all of these things. And I guess the main thing is I am looking, as far as relationships go, I'm not looking to be a tourist in someone's life, nor am I wanting someone that's just wanting to be a tourist. And I think, especially in the dating field, a lot of people are just kind of looking for opportunities, especially when you're younger. I feel like I'm getting to the point, I'm 25, I'm getting older. I've had experience dating, things like that. And so, but at a certain point, some people are still looking for different situations and they're kind of trying to see what the best option is. And I think that's good. I'm definitely not jumping into anything as well with anybody right now. But there's also this sense of temporary like fulfillment that people get by dating people, or even I found this in when I was living in Seattle, and maybe you guys can relate to this, especially INFJs out there, but I found people that were just kind of situational people. They just wanted to be friends for a certain reason. Maybe it was to party or something like that. And when I think about relationships, and I think a lot of us think this way, is I try to think of everything long term to a certain extent. And like all of the friendships that I have, at least in Georgia, like my close friends, I talk to them on a pretty regular basis. And I also make an effort to see them. Like for me, I value my friendships, and I'm definitely more of a quality over quantity type of person when it comes to my intimate friendships. But a lot of people have a different mindset. So it'll be interesting to see what you guys think about this topic. So I'm going to go on to the live chat and see if anybody has any thoughts about this. If not, I'll just continue on. Thomas Kasabe. Sorry, I'm sorry if I really butchered your name. Hey, good evening. It's midnight here. Sorry, it's so late. Saham, hold on. I'm going to check on my friend. I keep hearing about that show online. Yeah, it's very good. Parks and Rec is definitely a good show. And after watching it for the third time, I feel like I've gotten different things from the characters and stuff. I actually would love to do like a typing of the characters, but I think it's very difficult to type fictional characters in general. Jeffrey Sherman. It says Taurus beware of the INFJ. I think it should be the INFJ beware of Taurus. We don't want anything to do with that kind of lifestyle. We mate for life, friends included. Well, Jeffrey, the reason I intentionally did that. Oh, Henry's here. If you guys don't know who Henry is, this is my dog, Mr. Henry. So the reason why I said that Taurus should beware is because we don't like those kind of people, and I think we can see through that. I definitely have. I guess we all can be victims of Taurus in a way, but for those people that are trying to have more of a casual relationship, and this doesn't mean just romantically, even friendships or whatever it is, business, any kind of relationship in general, we kind of see through that bullshit radar of, hey, we're not looking for that kind of casual thing. And that's also something that maybe people are attracted to a certain extent, because like for me, when it comes to dating, for example, I'm not going to just date whomever. Like that person will have to prove themselves in some way. And this doesn't mean like they don't have to, like, I'm not gonna like play games with them or something like that. Quite the opposite. It's just mostly showing, hey, like, I'm not looking to just be like, I'm looking to intentionally date someone, not or like be in a relationship with someone. I'm not looking for some type of casual tourist relationship where you're in there when, because a lot of people, even if they're not like necessarily tourists in the sense that they're in a relationship with you for a period of time or friends with you for a period of time, there's also tourists that are kind of sporadic with it. So like, for example, there's a person that messaged me the other day and they wanted me to go to something. And it almost seems like for a lot of people that I describe as tourists are kind of very casual with their approach. They're, you know, they will come in and out of your life when they want to do so. And even though it might not be like they're in your life and then they're out of your life forever, these people will continue to come in and out of your life and gain some type of thing from it. And maybe they're not intentionally doing this, but for me, that's not a very attractive quality in someone, because I like to have a foundation with whatever kind of friendship relationship that I'm coming into. Like, again, all of my friends I connect with on a daily basis or almost weekly, daily basis. Some of them that don't live as close, we have a type of relationship that our relationship is so deep in many ways that we are there for each other when we need each other, and also we can pick up right where we left off, whereas a tourist is way more casual in their approach, and you might have a surface level relationship with them or even feel like you have a deep relationship with them, but at the end of the day, they're much more concerned with their own like selfish needs. And maybe they're not a selfish person, but they're more there for like the experience rather than they're more there for the vacation or the holiday rather than like a lifelong journey. Okay. Sheila W. I agree. Quality over quantity. My best friend and I've had for 40 years. We met in kindergarten and I cherish her. That's awesome. Yeah, my best friend, well, I have a few best friends, but my longest best friend, Rachel, we've been best friends since I was 10. And so it's been over 15 years. And we've never really had a fight. Which is fine to have a fight with someone. I think that's perfectly healthy. We definitely had disagreements, but we've never had a lapse of our friendship. And that tends to be how my friendships are in general. And I think a lot of you guys can relate to this, is like, it basically either works out or it doesn't, because once I commit to be someone's friend, unless there's some kind of extreme thing that happens or like some type of disloyalty or whatever that looks like, I will continue to be friends with that person till indefinitely. Thomas, as an INTJ, I couldn't agree more with Jeffrey. I definitely think that's true. But again, there was a reason why I said Taurus, beware of the INFJ, and I think you can also say that for the INTJ as well, and other specific personalities, because we do see through that. I think we have, whereas some people are maybe, and I'm not saying that INFJs can't be this way either, depending on what your development journey is, but some personalities are a little less maybe naturally tuned into how people come across or their intentions. Okay, Wolfson. You look like a kid, but sounds like an adult. Thanks, I guess. When I don't wear any makeup, people think I'm like between 14 and 16. I'm definitely not the most curvaceous person. I am tall, so that kind of throws people off, but when I'm sitting down, I definitely look shorter. But yeah, I've been told that. I would rather look young than old, I guess. Sheila W. I know, right? I know right away I want to put my energy into someone. But if I don't see it working long term, I just walk away. It took years to become that secure in myself to get to that point. I definitely think that that's true. And that's why I think there's different levels of development. Oh my gosh, Henry, really? Henry's eating my tissue. I don't know if you guys can hear or see, but I think I'm actually getting sick. So yeah. Anyways. But yeah, it is hard sometimes to put people through the paces and really think about what their intentions are sometimes. But I also get that feeling too, and that's why for me, if I feel like something's not working out, whether it's a friendship or a relationship, which doesn't as much happen with friendships, because I think I'm a little bit, I think I'm a lot more broad with my friendships than like who I choose to date. Just because even though you're going to be intimate on some level, like intellectually and emotionally, you're not going to take it further on different levels. And so it's a little less that way. Okay, Paper Eater 101. Some people are uncomfortable with depth, and that's entirely true. And that's why I think a lot of Taurus, I mean, this is a generalization, but I do think a lot of the Taurus that I talk about are either unhealthy people that are maybe they are more deeply inclined, but I do feel like many Taurus are not as much inclined to that depth. And that's perfectly fine. And maybe that works out for certain people, but definitely doesn't jive with me, at least over a long period of time. Mike Hart, in real life, I get approached by women constantly, not bragging, but just true. So I actually kind of find solace online. It also helps that I'm not photogenic, so my photos never look like me. Well, I definitely understand that. I think it's actually kind of funny because I think I can be very photogenic, and in some videos I definitely look better than others. Like there's definitely many videos where I do not look very flattering, but I would probably say that I look better in person. And I definitely give off a different vibe in person than I do online. So I definitely can relate to that. Fernando, word. Yes. Sheila, what type is Rachel? My BFF is an ISFJ. So Rachel's an INTJ. I actually have a couple close INTJ friends. Rachel, well, actually, just two that I'm like, that I would consider best friends. My friend Rachel and my friend Danielle. Other than that, I have ENFp friends, ENFJ friends, an ISFJ, some ENTPs. Like I do have different types of friends, but a lot of INFPs. But I really do gravitate towards I really do like INTJs a lot. So, Paper Eater 101, don't sneeze on me. Well, I definitely will. Well, not in, I'm gonna sneeze probably on the laptop, which is gross. Henry's! And then little Henry's probably an ESFP. Okay. GWalk, hi. INT jerk, hey all, hey. Nice to see you. Sheila W. I've noticed INFJs seem to age well and keep a youthful look. In general, depends on lifestyle though. Yes. Sheila, I actually think you would find this interesting. And I actually want to go into this. So what you guys are going to find in the future is I really want to go into Socionics more because it's just a lot more in depth than Myers-Briggs, because again, for those of you that know quite a bit about Myers-Briggs, Myers-Briggs was intended as a tool for business and educational purposes of grouping people. So it doesn't correctly use the judging and perceiving functions for introverts. And what I mean by that, it does to the extent, like, so in Myers-Briggs, they use the first extroverted function. So that's, for introverts, it's going to be flipped because in Socionics, they use the primary function for everybody. So in Myers-Briggs, for example, in INFJ, they lead with extroverted feeling, and that's also their first extroverted function. So hence J, because if you lead with, if your extroverted function is a thinking or feeling function, that's a judging function. Whereas if your extroverted function is a intuitive or sensing function, then that is a perceiving function. But INFJs and INTJs in Myers-Briggs, even though our first extroverted functions are judging, our actual primary functions are perceiving. And I think that's a lot more accurate to who we are. But anyways, the reason why I say this, Sheila, if you look up IEI for Socionics, if you look up the female profile, I think you're going to find that very intriguing. And I want to go into like the female and male profiles of like Socionics types. So again, if you're an introvert, whatever you are in Myers-Briggs, unless you're mistyped, you are just have a different J or P at the end. So if you're an INFJ in Myers-Briggs, then you're an INFP in Socionics. And if you're, I don't know, like an INTJ in Myers-Briggs, you're an INTP in Socionics. But I'll get into that another time. You guys have heard this spiel before. Astrid the Earthling, makeup is on point. Thank you so much. Linda, I love the dog. Thank you. Henry's very interesting. Peter Nathan, totally agree with Sheila. Also, my FE as an FJ is the satellite dish of an owl. Very interesting. Ryan Hutchinson, can concur. No, a 60-year-old INFJ looks more like he's in his 40s. Yeah. Well, that's why I think it's very interesting for specifically INFJs. If you look up the IEI profile, so INFP in Socionics, that's what you would be. And if you look up just the profile in general, it's interesting. But if you look up the male and female profile, depending on what you are, you're going to find that extremely interesting in how it is described, especially for me, the female profile, because it's very true to me. John Latin, I'm an INFJ and haven't aged at all in 11 years. That's very good. Jonathan Campbell, most in-depth in combining MBTI and Socionics. Both have their pros and cons. Definitely. Jonathan Campbell, I'm INFJ and I'm Internally beautiful. You are beautiful, Jonathan. I love you, Jonathan. I think you're a beautiful person, and you have a lot to share with the world. Sheila W., I'm 46, and no one ever thinks I'm that old. Yeah, that's for sure. It was actually funny. Last week I went out to a club, and Greenville, for some reason, they don't card, especially if you're with other adults, I guess, which is not a good thing. I think most places do card in the US, but in Greenville, it seems to not always be the case. But like at clubs and stuff where you have to enter it, I was carded the other day, and because I haven't changed my Seattle license, they were very suspicious of me. And so it was kind of funny because the police officers were like asking me different things, and like, we don't want to take you to jail tonight. But yeah, it was just funny. Anyways, wow, it's all going over my head. Sean H. The chopper. Do you think Socionics is more accurate than MBTI? 100% yes. And the reason why is MBTI, I just believe, is a lot more surface level, but I also think there's some interest in there. And I do understand, so for my take on why, and I'm gonna make an actual video about this, like why the P and the J suck, or just are misleading. So in MBTI, I believe the reason why the P and the J are flipped for introverts, like why they use the extrovert function to decide what the P or J is, has to do with the fact that what we consider J type, so like the J introverts in MBTI, they are definitely present themselves as more put together, especially in academic and social and business settings, than the Ps of the world, or specifically the introverts. But that is the case for maybe the outward or extroverted world, but internally, or when we're like our more, I don't know how to describe it, the more representative part of ourselves, or natural part of ourselves, aren't really like that. I feel like it's a little bit misconstrued in Myers-Briggs, if that makes sense. I don't know if that does. Okay. Astrid the Earthling. Cool username. Yeah, it is a cool username. Fernando, that would make sense because INTP did show up as one of the 3 types I am similar to. Yes. The chopper. Have you ever used 25 quiz? No. What is that, by the way? Excuse moi. Whoa. Hi. Hello. Peter Nathan, does Socionics deal with spirituality? I don't really know. I don't think so. Maybe it does. Okay. Notion slave. Oh, I'm gonna delete this. All right. Okay. Jonathan Campbell. The P and the J are flipped because the first extrovert function is often more visible than the dominant function in introverts. For instance, INFPs are dominant judgers, but often don't look it. And that's exactly what I was trying to say. Jonathan, you were way more eloquent in your delivery of that. Yes, so that's why, yeah, and Myers-Briggs, but that makes more sense because, again, Myers-Briggs was used as a tool for social settings, again, in the workplace or in an educational situation. So this definitely is interesting because you definitely get a sense of like J-ness from INFJs, but it's just not. I get why Myers-Briggs uses it, but when we want to get to the core of people, and like who they truly are, that is not an accurate way of looking at people. At least for me, I don't find that. I think because of that like stereotype, especially for introverts, at least the P and the J. Oh, I'm so P, I'm so J, Myers-Briggs. We don't really get a full view of what a J actually is, what a P actually is, because they're so concerned with that kind of narrative that Myers-Briggs tries to promote. So, okay. Nick, I wonder if a culture of instant gratification and narcissism has turned more people into viewing others as commodities, hence the Taurus. Yes. And that's what I would say, especially like for dating apps. So I'm going to be completely transparent. I am using dating apps, but I have a very different approach than most people. Well, maybe not most people. I don't think most people are this way, but in the way that they're just like necessarily casual about things. Maybe they are, I don't know. I'm not that way. I am very selective on those apps. And I also try to build, I try to kind of see different options and see what is, I try to meet people and give people chances. But my intention is to eventually have a relationship with someone. But again, I'm definitely not going to jump to the first person that shows interest because I don't want that kind of Taurus mentality. But a lot of people on dating apps or like just online in general, like you were saying, Nick, is like people just like kind of distance themselves. Even like on YouTube, you'll see in the comments, and I've definitely gotten this, where people will say like kind of rude things or something, not just on my videos, but on other people's videos, because they kind of disconnect themselves in some ways and they're not able to realize, yeah, these people are human beings. They have emotions. They have like, everybody has a complex life to a certain degree. We all have such a different background, and on a macro scale, people can look different, but we can also look similar. But when you get into the micro level and you really see the journeys that people have been on and the adversities that people have faced, it makes it hard to become a Taurus. But because we separate ourselves so much with technology or like these dating apps where you can just like, again, I'm selective, and it's not in a, a mean way, but like it is very easy to just be like swipe left, swipe left, swipe left, and not be as intentional. Or some people are like swipe right or whatever, and it just becomes like a game rather than living, breathing humans or whatever. The chopper, it's just another MBTI test, but I quite like it because every answer you choose has a different category, like intimacy, independence, authority, that kind of stuff in a pie chart. Ooh, interesting. Very interesting. Okay. I'm going to quickly go to the bathroom to get a tissue. All right. Sorry about that. Okay. Again, for those people that maybe have just tuned in, I feel like I'm getting sick. But that's all right. Okay. Saham, Jonathan, okay, can you tell me any sources would like to know? Yes, definitely. Jonathan Kimball, Socionics is not really about spirituality. It's oriented as something closer to social psychology, actually, yes. Excuse moi, pucokie's back, yay. Thank you. Yeah, this, for those of you that don't know this, I was taking a break in February. Okay. Fernando, Enneagram, I'm a 1 wing 2. LOL, and numerology, I'm a 3. Interesting. Lawrence Len, how do you feel about Enneagram, especially in complement with Myers-Briggs / Socionics? I definitely think that Enneagram and Myers-Briggs / Socionics go together. I think personally, you are born with a certain personality. And if you want to say Myers-Briggs terms or Socionics terms, I think people, that is your nature and that's what you are at your core. You may be perceived differently due to nurture aspects, trauma, different things like that. And you can also be perceived differently because of your Enneagram. Like for me, I'm a 9 wing 8 Enneagram type, even though I'm an INFJ in Myers-Briggs, or an IEI, INFp in Socionics. So I'm going to look different than, say, Jonathan, who is a 1, and he's also an INFJ or IEI, INFp in Socionics, and so on and so forth. And also, I think different genders look differently as well. Queen Tiger, hey Emily. Hey Queen Tiger, I missed you. I missed many of you guys, especially people that I see quite a bit. It's definitely been good to take a break, but I also miss talking to people and having that connection. Jonathan, Saham, sources for what? I was saying a few things. I think for Socionics. Queen Tiger, oh yeah, I did more Socionics research. I'm LIETE, so T subtype. Jonathan Kimball, things, damn it. I shouldn't read all this stuff out loud. I'm literally just reading the thread. Jonathan Layton, as an INFJ, what careers are you interested in? So I definitely want to make a video about this, and I think also for other people or other personalities, but I think that INFJs are best suited towards humanitarian careers, whether that is to do with psychology, philosophy, kind of in the social sciences realm, but also in the creative realm as well. And I think we make for very interesting leaders because not all INFJs want to be leaders, but I do feel like we find ourselves in leadership positions pretty often because we have this kind of responsibility to us that maybe other types don't really feel that way as naturally. Okay. Okay. So you want to know the extroverted function. Definitely. Okay. Sheila W. Nowadays, love your neighbor as yourself doesn't work when so many people don't even like themselves. People can be so rude and mean. Yes, and I think most of that comes from insecurity, and this ties back into the Taurus mentality. I think a lot of people, especially people that have an unhealthy relationship with people, or like that's kind of what they feel most comfortable with, is just going in and out of people's lives, is from a place of insecurity. And this can sometimes stir from people's childhoods, and I think it often does, is they felt abandoned in some way as a child. And so they feel the need to make up for that by taking some type of control back and being able to decide whether they want to be in someone's life or whatever that looks like. Fernando, so each type gives people something they bring. People they bring to the gives people something they bring to the table. Yes. Oh, that's funny. Ponenge, what about dogitarian careers? Dogitarian, I have no idea. Being a good boy, I guess. I think for dogs, just being a good boy and being, you know, but they can aspire to more things. So, for example, I'm going to be probably pimping my dog and cats out to be Instagram thing. I actually do have an Instagram for my cats, and I want to be more consistent with that. I hear someone downstairs knocking something over. I wonder if it's one of the cats or Henry. Okay. Queen Tiger. Also, I'm starting making self-help type videos, and I'd be interested to see if you could watch that one I just uploaded at some point to you that assesses it from an FE viewpoint. I've taken a blunt TE approach. Yeah, definitely. So I'm still kind of getting into watching videos again. I really have not been watching so many YouTube videos since I guess, since March 1st. Kind of easing into it, but I want to be more active in letting people know that I watch their videos, because I watch a lot of people's videos, but I have to kind of ease myself back into that. Cat on a keyboard. I think social media is making people more insecure, so that is more likely for people to act like tourists. Definitely. And I think people are comparing themselves, and like you see, like for example on Instagram or even like Facebook or Snapchat or something like that, YouTube, people are having different experiences where they're like traveling the world and stuff like that. And whereas I think a lot of people, they want to have like interesting experiences, as in like I, for example, want to go everywhere in the world, but a lot of people will do things just for the appearance of doing something rather than actually getting that experience. So I feel like that's taking tourism to a whole different level. It's like they're not even trying to get anything deeper from a certain experience. They're just trying to kind of have the perception like they're more interesting by going to Spain or Uganda or Antarctica, wherever that is, that they can get that good photo, that good video. So I've thought about making an Instagram for my cat, but I haven't made it. Yeah, it's hard because like, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna try to be. I really just don't need to make any promises. I just need to do, especially like after this little hiatus. But if you want to, definitely do it. Fernando, True John, but they naturally expose the flaws in something, especially in business backgrounds. Sheila W. My Instagram is my farm and my goat. Pics always get the most love. That's funny. Peter Nathan, social media has killed relationships. Was on the bus today and every head was in their phone and no one was smiling. That's unfortunate. That's something I definitely have kind of gotten a different perspective on just even taking a step back from social media for this last month and kind of being more intentional with my time in the physical world. It is interesting how much time we spend on wanting to be perceived a certain way rather than living our lives and making meaningful relationships. Queen Tiger, I thought about making an MBTI Instagram. You should do it. That would be really interesting. Joy, paradigm shifted. Cat on a keyboard. Social media feels like a grocery store for human connection. You don't have to care as much about specific individuals because you have access to a massive amount of alternate choices. Wow. That was very well said. And I think, again, it's the same way as like dating apps and stuff. Is there's so many choices, and I've even felt like this as well. Like for me, if I wanted to, I could have multiple dates, even in a day. That is something that is very overwhelming, especially as someone as an introvert. But even to the extent that, like for me, I have been dating pretty often, and a lot more often than other people. And it's never in a I don't take it further than a hug because I'm not trying to do certain things. And if you are, good on you. But I'm definitely, keeping a level of, there's definitely a barrier for at this level of dating. But it's definitely difficult because there are so many choices, so many options, and that can be very overwhelming because, people don't have to be perfect, but when you're given so many options, it just makes it so much easier to just disregard people. And I don't want to be that way. And I think, again, on social media, when you don't have like this kind of closer connection with someone, it's very easy to do that. M. McCleve. I think social media is addictive to people because of likes triggering the reward center in their brain whenever someone likes a new photo of yourself or some idea of you had. That is very true. And that's the thing that I'm even trying to separate myself from. I think you guys know this, and this kind of goes into this a little bit, is like, I mean, I've talked about this before, but eventually I want social media to be able to be like a full-time job. But with that being said, there has to be a separation in the extent I don't want the human connection to be separated, but there has to be a separation between, I mean, when you're running a business or something like that, and I definitely don't necessarily see it like this right now because it's just not at this point. But you have to kind of separate yourself from views, likes, whatever it is, with the reality, because at the end of the day, even those things are important, especially if you're creating a business out of it, those are not going to give you fulfillment, and that's not going to bring you happiness. And there's if you're using your life as a way of getting likes and you're not building those deeper connections with people, you're never going to feel fulfilled in yourself, because we are a very social creature. And whether you are the most introverted person or not, even just having some type of form of connection, whether it's with your cat or your neighbor down the street, it's going to be a lot more valuable than just this like instant gratification that you receive on a photo or something. Pwnhinge. I don't use Real ID on social media because I don't want ex-girlfriends stalking me. That's funny. So I want a flip phone just for the aesthetic. Sorry to ruin the deep conversation. No, that's not. I mean, that's funny. I would assume that you've never had a flip phone because you are. I feel like you probably. It's kind of funny. I don't know if you ever have had a flip phone. I did have a flip phone. Oh, I got a phone which was pretty young, but I know people nowadays get phones a lot younger. I think my first phone I was 13 and it was a flip phone. I think it was a Samsung. It's definitely interesting. There's definitely like, it's fun to be like, oh, well, bye, and then just like hang up the phone like that. There's definitely like that's something that's kind of fun. Um and also like I got really good at texting, like doing the numbers or whatever, and that was interesting. What do you think about Queen Tiger? What do you think about conspiracy theories, Emily? Personally, I am very interested in them. Yes. I am very interested in them too. Certain theories, I wouldn't say I'm completely sold on any of them, but there are some that I am pretty much leaning towards. I won't necessarily go into them. Actually, so I talked about this, but I created a meetup group in Greenville, South Carolina, where I live, called the Thought Provokers. So if you are on Meetup, and if you're ever in the area for whatever reason, you could potentially come to one of my events that I'm putting on. But that's something that we're going to talk about in our meetup. So we're talking about different things, but we're going to talk about like conspiracy theories, the Mandela effect, all different types of stuff. Plus, like this next meetup is going to be like personality based. But yes, I am very, very intrigued by that. And maybe one day I will actually make a conspiracy theory video. Like, I don't know if you watch, what's her name? I've been watching her for so long. Kendall Ray. So Kendall Ray does a lot of conspiracy theory videos on YouTube, and also obviously Shane Dawson, and I find those very, very interesting. INT Paul, glad you're back, Em. Thank you. Great to see your presence again. You're very sweet. Fernando, is it long distance relationship if one or the other plan to be being closer? I'm speaking for a potential outcome. Okay, so Fernando. We've definitely talked about this. But for other people as well. I think, so it depends on the person. For me, especially after my last situation, I personally do not want to do long distance relationships because when you are in a long distance relationship, you do not get to see people on a as regular basis as you would if they lived in your vicinity. Or vicinity. What did I say? Anyways. And you don't get to see how people truly are. You don't know what they're hiding from you, and vice versa. That was at least my experience. I definitely didn't know certain things about the last individual I dated, and if I did know about certain things, I would not have dated him. And that was because of long distance. That's nothing against him. That's just a personal preference for me. But yeah, so for me, I do not prefer long distance. I guess if there is a potential of someone being closer, I probably would still not date that person unless that person already lived in a area and I was able to see them. The only people I would even consider doing long distance with is someone that I've been friends with for a period of time. The only people that I would even consider in that regard are guy friends I've had for years. And that's because the guy friends that are very close to me, even though I don't necessarily see that ever being a romantic relationship, nor have they ever been a romantic relationship, unless like there's one guy that I am in contact that is an ex-boyfriend, but beside the point. I personally think that it's good to know people from all different angles, and to know the good, the bad, and the ugly for both situations. And when you get into a relationship with someone, especially at a distance, and you're not able to learn certain things about them, it is very easy to fall into a relationship that is probably not good for whatever individual, because you just don't know certain things. And there's certain things that either that person won't reveal, or vice versa. And you just don't know those everyday situations. Because for me, I personally like to see people in all different situations. And if someone has something they're hiding that is a deal breaker for me, that is not something that I will want to pursue. So I guess that was a long-winded response to that. Jeffrey, I think you're right. People are, quote, doing it for the gram. Yes, definitely. Urban Hopeman. Social media provides artificial intimacy, especially ASMR, but artificial intimacy is better than nothing. I guess that's true. First of all, I'm with Saham. I don't hate ASMR. I'm just not, I don't have any kind of inclination towards it. It's not something that I personally connect with, nor do I seek out, but to each their own. Yeah, I do not like loud chewing noises, that's for sure. Hey Jack, World Socionics Society. Saham, my first phone was a pink flip phone with a cool playing game. Oh, cool. So Jack, you had a cold recently. Very interesting. Oh my gosh. Queen Tiger, I'm 17 and I had a flip phone. Got it at 7. Wow, very young. Thanks. Oh my gosh, Queen Tiger. Speaking of Shane Dawson, you watched did you watch the thing about Chuck E. Cheese's that Shane Dawson did? Because you said I definitely think Chuck E. Cheese's reuses pizzas. Yeah. First of all, just want to say this. I don't know if other places in the world have Chuck E. Cheese's. At a very young age, whenever I first went to Chuck E. Cheese's, I didn't like it. I have always been suspicious of people in costumes like that. Like, I guess whatever the opposite of a furry is, that's what I am, because I am, like, those people scare me. Even to this day, I do not like when people have, I mean, I'm not scared of people in costumes like that, but definitely not something that I enjoy. And I just felt like, even at a young age, I felt like it was very, I just didn't find enjoyment from going to Chuck E. Cheese's, and I definitely didn't like the pizza, because I felt like, ugh. Anyways. Okay. Lawrence Lynn. What I like about Enneagram is that it gives us a different angle in the form of motivations, desires, and fear, and more straightforward framework. Yes, that's definitely true. Henry likes to chew different sorts of laundry because he's a disgusting little dog. But I still love him. Phonehenge. Long distance is fine, I think, if the compatibility is strong and plans are made to make a short distance. make it a short distance or no distance. Yes. Okay. I would like to say that. So I guess, Fernando, I would say this. If it was a situation where it was a very short period of time of being long distance, um, then yeah, that could work out. But again, I wouldn't want to be in a relation. So my last relationship, I was in a relationship with that individual before we met, which I would not recommend. Or like we kind of already agreed that we were gonna date and then we met. Not what I would say is best. I definitely think if you meet someone and you are connected with them and you're able to be with them for a certain period of time in a physical, not like physically like involved, but in a physical world, then yes, maybe a short, long distance relationship is possible where you have a goal and object of we're going to be in this situation. Like, for example, Megan Lavoda and her girlfriend, I don't really remember all of the details for that, but I know that they basically were kind of long distance for a little while, but her girlfriend moved to Megan pretty early on, and they were in in the vicinity of one another, so it kind of worked out that way. Okay. Queen Tiger, OMG, we should do a conspiracy theory live stream. Yes, that would be very interesting. Could be, you know, if we ever do conspiracy theories, just take it with a grain of salt. I definitely think I'm going to make a disclaimer, but yeah. James Bentley, does anyone really prefer long distance? Maybe Taurus. I'm just kidding. But really, yeah, there are people that are looking for different opportunities. Yeah, that's why I don't prefer long distance, because you don't know people's lives. Like, it's already hard when you're physically with someone in a, the distance is shorter because you're able to see them on a regular basis. You kind of have a better understanding of who they're around and stuff. But when you're long distance, it's much easier for certain people to what to be with. They're able to hide things or be with different people. That wasn't my experience, but that definitely can be some people's experience. Okay. ASMR is more an SI thing. Interesting. Jack, thank you. Oh, Jonas, the Wiccan INFJ, yay. Okay. Yeah, I probably should end this pretty soon because it's been going on for a little over an hour. Yeah, I think with ASMR, you either like it or you don't. So, oh, James Bentley, opposite of a furry, normal. I don't know. I don't know people's lifestyles. I mean, well, okay. What I meant by opposite of a furry is I used to be definitely afraid of people in costumes. Like, I couldn't even be around people that had costumes like that. It just freaked me out. I just felt like they were concealing something. At a young age, I just did not trust people that wore costumes like that. Fernando, the only real way to know if someone is genuine is actually living with them, because of course living in two different houses, people can still be deceiving as if a long distance. You see. Definitely. So I've never lived with a person that I've dated, but even though I am religious and, for those people that are maybe inclined in that way, I do believe in God and things like that, even though, I have a traditional stance in some ways. I do think personally, that it could be very valuable to live with someone before you get married. And just because you see people's awkward. Hey, Anna. I'm actually doing a live stream right now, but I can call you in just a little bit. Okay. Yeah, I should probably end this anyways. Say hi. Do you want me to put you on speaker or no? To say hi to. What was it? Oh, like FaceTime? Do you want to? Yeah, let's do it. Okay. Okay. Hey, Anna. Okay.
Hey.
All right. So I'm gonna put Anna on. Hey guys, say hi.
Hi.
So we're about to talk because we do a little weekly talk with one another. It was actually kind of embarrassing because I have the Game of Thrones theme song as my what's it called?
As your ringtone?
Yeah. So it's like do, 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 do. I'm actually doing a video about Taurus beware of the INFJ, which I'm talking Taurus like as in people that come in and out of your life.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
What would you like to say about Taurus? Like, what is your stance on people that are like temporary people?
Honestly, I'm just learning to not even fuck with those people. It's just not worth your time, especially when you do have people that you're already close to.
Yes.
So I've definitely learned to like very take it slow with the relationships in general.
Yes.
My 2 cents.
Yeah, relationships, friendships, any kind of thing. Like, because I mean, we both have had Taurus in our lives for sure.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so I'll talk to you later. But but yeah, so you were a guest on the live stream. Okay. Bye, Anna. Okay. Sorry, guys. That was not planned, obviously. Yes. Anna is an ENFP for sure. Okay. Let's see. Anna is not my sister. So Anna and Anna are different. Anna's my sister that lives in Japan. Anna is my friend that we just saw. Yeah. But yeah, it is Game of Thrones. I'm a big Game of Thrones nerd. By the way, I actually want to do a video about typing MBTI, like typing the characters from Game of Thrones. I want to do that with Harry Potter as well. Again, it's hard to type fictional characters. For those of you that are maybe watching this not live, I'm sorry that this is very random, but welcome to my channel. And don't be a tourist at my channel. So if you're a tourist, you can go explore something else because we want the real people here. We don't want some tourists. We want some lifelong people. Okay. Yeah. Okay. What do people mean by recycled pizzas? Okay. So Saham, I don't know if you've watched Shane Dawson's videos. I mean, Shane Dawson's video on conspiracy theories, but like he has a conspiracy theory. I think because I was just watching it. I think it's from February 11th, if I remember correctly. But he does 3 different conspiracy theories in that video. He talks about this one girl in her kind of sketchy relationship with this Serbian guy, and what were the other things? The Chuck E. Cheese's thing, and also like this voice recognizing application that is able to automate your voice. But the Chuck E. Cheese's one, so basically the premise is if you look at any like Chuck E. Cheese's pizza, you'll find that the pizza is like where a fresh pizza would be like a whole pizza, and it's very obvious that it was a complete circle and that it was sliced in a certain way. With Chuck E. Cheese, it seems like when they recycle it, it means that basically if children don't finish their pizzas, whoever doesn't finish their pizzas, the servers will come by and take those pizzas once the people have left. And if they are in a condition like a slice or something, they'll just put those slices together with kind of make it into this Frankenstein pizza. And so you'll see on a pizza from Chuck E. Cheese that the slices don't really match up. And yeah, so basically it's recycled pizza because they're putting different pizzas together into one full pizza. Okay. All right. Okay, I should probably go. So much for my plans to show up at Pucokie's meetup wearing a costume. Yes, if you want to scare me, do that. That's definitely something to scare me with. Jack, well, I think the idea one would want to dedicate time towards experiencing pleasurable tingles is in one's head is SIFE. Very interesting. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. So. The actor who plays Jon Snow is actually quite short. Yes. A lot of the actors in that show are short, and then some of them are larger. Wait, Michelle is here? Oh, Michelle! Hey, Michelle! Yes, Frankenpizza, that's what Chuck E. Cheese's is. Yeah, I don't like Chuck E. Cheese's, it just makes me nervous. Anyways, all right, so on that note, don't be a tourist. You are a tourist. I mean, I guess that's fine. I think all of us have been tourists in someone's lives, whether unintentionally or intentionally. Again, people are typically in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And the reason why tourists should beware of an INFJ or people that have, similar kind of personalities in the sense that we kind of weed out those kind of people because we don't want tourists in our lives. We want people that want to stay there for a lifetime and not just jump ship, just have different experiences. But yeah, I hope you guys have a good day, and I will see you later. It is okay, Michelle, that you are late. This was an impromptu video, so yes. But yeah, I will see you guys later, and yes, thank you guys for being very supportive. I feel like you guys have been very sweet in my transition back to the internet. So yeah, all right. BYE, bye bye bye.